Welcome back to your ultimate General Hospital destination. Explosive secrets, heartbreaking betrayals, and shocking twists are shaking Port Charles to its core. Stay tuned, today's episode changes everything. As someone who has seen countless twists and turns in Port Charles, I find myself particularly fascinated by the growing tension surrounding Michael, Willow, and this new presence in Jacinda. It feels like the writers are stirring up something special, blending old familiar patterns with fresh, unpredictable energy. What strikes me most is how Jacinda's feelings for Michael seem to deepen with every passing episode. The more time she spends by his side, the more irritation she shows toward Willow's continued role in his life. I've noticed the subtle glances and the quiet frustration building in Jacinda's expressions. It's clear she's not just a passing interest for Michael, she's becoming someone who genuinely cares. Yet that care is complicated by the shadow Willow still casts. In my view, this dynamic adds real emotional layers. Michael has always been a man who thinks several steps ahead, and his patient approach to handling Willow makes perfect sense given his history. He wants her to face the consequences of her actions, but he's willing to let things unfold naturally, believing her downfall is inevitable. I respect that kind of calculated restraint. It reminds me of the classic Corinthos men who played the long game. On the other hand, Jacinda's impatience feels refreshingly different. She doesn't share Michael's wait-and-see attitude. From what we've seen, she's growing tired of Willow's presence and seems ready to accelerate things dramatically this summer. I love that the writers are giving her this proactive edge. It raises an interesting question. Will Jacinda's determination to push forward actually help Michael's goals, or might it create new complications? Based on the hints we've gotten, I believe her drive will prove beneficial in the short term, forcing issues into the open that Michael might have let simmer longer. One of the most compelling developments involves Brooke Lynn's failed attempt to undermine Willow. She crafted a plan to frame Willow for leaving the scene of Jordan's accident, hoping it would destroy her reputation as a congresswoman. We all know how carefully Brooke Lynn thinks these things through, especially when protecting her family. Yet, as the spoilers suggest, this scheme simply doesn't land as intended. It falls apart, and instead of discouraging others, it seems to fuel Jacinda's resolve even more. I find this outcome particularly satisfying because it shows how resilient Willow can be. She always finds a way to slip through tight spots. But here's where things get exciting. Jacinda isn't content to wait for natural consequences. She appears ready to create situations specifically designed so that Willow cannot escape. That's a bold shift, and I can't help but admire the writers for exploring Jacinda's more cunning side. I've been thinking a lot about whether Jacinda will follow the same path as some of Michael's past loves. We've seen it before, women who start strong but eventually veer off course in ways that hurt him. Is Jacinda destined to be another chapter in that story, or could she be the one who breaks the pattern? Personally, I hope she proves different. There's a steel in her that feels authentic, and watching her willing to get her hands dirty if necessary makes her compelling. She isn't afraid to show her darker, more strategic side, and that willingness to scheme could be exactly what shakes up the status quo in Port Charles. The summer revelations have me particularly eager for what's coming. Jacinda seems poised to seize control and launch her own plots against Willow. This isn't just about jealousy or competition, it's shaping up to be a genuine power struggle. Willow has proven slippery in the past, dodging scandals and maintaining her public image, but Jacinda's approach feels more deliberate and inescapable. I keep asking myself, how far will Jacinda go to remove Willow from Michael's orbit? The early signs point to some truly clever maneuvers, and I believe we'll see her engineering confrontations and revelations that leave Willow with nowhere to hide. What I appreciate most about this arc is how it builds on established character histories while introducing fresh conflict. Michael's protective nature, Willow's resilience, Brooke Lynn's family loyalty, and now Jacinda's bold ambition all intersect in ways that feel organic to the show's DNA. It reminds me of the great rivalries from decades ago, but with modern emotional depth. As a longtime viewer, I find myself rooting for different characters on different days. Sometimes I want Michael to find real happiness with Jacinda, and other times I wonder if Willow still has growth left in her story. The danger this creates for Willow feels very real and immediate. If Jacinda fully intervenes, Willow could face threats unlike anything she's dealt with before. The idea that Jacinda is actively working to push Willow out of Michael's influence opens up so many dramatic possibilities. Will we see public exposures, private manipulations, or alliances forming in unexpected places? I suspect the writers have several surprises prepared, and that anticipation keeps me tuning in faithfully each week. Of course, part of the joy of General Hospital has always been watching characters evolve through their choices. Jacinda revealing her more ruthless qualities doesn't make her a villain in my eyes, it makes her human and determined. She's fighting for what she wants, and in the world of Port Charles, that kind of fire often leads to unforgettable storytelling. I truly believe this storyline has the potential to deliver some of the most engaging drama we've seen in recent years. As I reflect on these developments, I'm reminded why I've stayed loyal to this show for so long. The relationships are complex, the schemes are intricate, and the emotional stakes feel personal. Jacinda targeting Willow so directly promises fireworks, and I'm here for every moment of it. Michael may prefer patience, but with Jacinda involved, the pace is quickening in the best possible way. Willow's ability to escape trouble may finally meet its match. There's something deeply satisfying about watching new characters challenge the established order. Jacinda isn't content to play a supporting role, she wants to shape the future, particularly where Michael's heart is concerned. This determination, combined with her growing affection for him, creates a rich internal conflict that I hope the writers explore fully. Will love soften her approach, or will it fuel her even more? I lean toward the latter, at least in the coming months, and that excites me. The failed plan from Brooklyn serves as a perfect catalyst. Instead of resolving tension, it heightens it, pushing Jacinda to take matters into her own hands. That's smart writing, in my opinion. It keeps the momentum building without easy resolutions. For Willow, the pressure is mounting, and I can't wait to see how she responds when the traps start closing in. Will she fight back with her usual grace, or will we see cracks in her composure? Ultimately, this storyline feels like a breath of fresh air for longtime fans like me. It honors the show's tradition of powerful female characters willing to make bold moves while giving Michael a romantic interest who challenges him. Jacinda's schemes against Willow are bound to produce some riveting television, and I have no doubt they'll deliver the kind of suspense and surprise that keeps us all coming back. I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing how far Jacinda is willing to go and what new dangers await Willow as a result. Port Charles is heating up, and I, for one, am loving every minute of it. The summer ahead promises to be one for the books. What fascinates me most is how Jacinda is stepping up with a new determination. She's tired of watching from the sidelines while Willow lingers in Michael's life. Instead of accepting Michael's patient approach, Jacinda wants to seize control and reclaim the advantages that seem destined for her. This shift in her character feels authentic to me. We've seen strong women in Port Charles make bold moves before, but Jacinda brings a modern intensity that keeps me glued to the screen. She's ready to get her hands dirty if necessary, creating situations that Willow simply cannot slip away from. The recent hints suggest a major new shock on the horizon, one that involves Michael and Jacinda potentially forming a true power couple. I have to admit, the idea thrills me. Michael has always needed someone who can match his strategic mind and strength, and Jacinda seems perfectly positioned to become that partner. Their growing connection feels electric, full of possibility and genuine affection, mixed with ambition. This could mark the beginning of something powerful in Port Charles, a union that changes the balance of influence and family dynamics we've grown so familiar with over the decades. Of course, this path isn't without complications. Brooklyn tried her own plan to undermine Willow by framing her for leaving the scene of Jordan's accident, but it fell apart as many of us suspected it might. Instead of ending the tension, that failure has only fueled Jacinda's resolve even more. She sees Willow as the main obstacle standing between her and the future she wants with Michael. While Michael is content to let things unfold naturally, believing Willow's downfall will come in time, Jacinda refuses to wait. Her impatience is one of the most compelling parts of this story for me. It raises an important question. Will her proactive schemes strengthen their bond or create new problems down the line? I believe, at least for now, that her drive will bring them closer and help establish them as the formidable pair they could become. This emerging obsession of Jacinda's adds such rich emotional depth. She's not merely jealous, she's truly invested in building something lasting with Michael. Watching her transform from someone navigating new territory to a woman ready to fight for her place feels rewarding after years of following these characters. Willow has always been good at escaping difficult situations, but Jacinda's new approach feels different. By engineering inescapable scenarios, Jacinda is proving she's willing to play the game at a higher level. As someone who has cheered for Michael's happiness through many ups and downs, I find myself rooting for this potential power couple. Jacinda's willingness to embrace her cunning side doesn't make her unlikable in my eyes. It makes her real and determined in a town where only the strong survive. The summer ahead promises shocks that could solidify their relationship while pushing Willow into uncharted danger. Will Jacinda's plans succeed in removing Willow from Michael's orbit once and for all? How will Michael respond to her bolder moves? These questions keep me coming back, eager for every new episode.